based on the government's latest data, they're not on track to achieve 5%. The problem they've had since the beginning of the year is that the growth has been very, very lopsided. It was relying on manufacturing capex, it was relying on external demand, but the domestic demand in terms of housing and consumption just have been really weak, and we have seen no recovery. Now the sectors were doing well were also slowing. So I think everything just points to they have to really step up on the policy support from here.
You make the point, Wei Yao, that housing activity, including sales and construction, has not deteriorated any further. So how much of a floor, how much of a bottom is this in the property market? And can we say that we've seen the worst of the stress?
Well, the July data showed that there was not, a sequential decline, right? But it's a very fragile bottoming, especially if you look at housing prices, actually still fell further. So if housing prices cannot stabilize, then the expectation from the households are gonna remain very negative. So which means the very fragile stability may not sustain. I guess this is why the government now seems to be worrying a bit more, which is a good thing that we're having it, that they're really pushing harder now on this inventory program, as in even potentially allow local governments to issue bonds to buy inventory. This is what's needed, but again, it could still take some time.
Yeah, this inventory program, what you're talking about is housing destocking, right, Wei Yao? But isn't that sort of the sort of macro equivalent of a shell game, what you see scam artists play out on the streets, right? Because it's just going from the left hand to the right hand. Unsold property with no people in it, that doesn't change. It just goes from one ownership title to another.
Well, it depends on how you do it, right? If we look at the housing demand, even over the long term, we can argue in China, there are cities, first tier cities, there could still be more demand, but the housing price is still too expensive. So in any very big cities, you have this kind of problem, you could offer more social rental, and if the funding costs for these social rental programs are cheap enough, then these programs can be viable. But these are really ideal conditions they need to meet. We're not there yet, but I think if just talking about demand, it's a program that possibly can work.